Chapter 13. The True Authority. A message from the voice of Christ through a chorus of angels in the presence of the Archangel Raphael and Archangel Gabriel. Section 1. Prelude. Beloved of God, right from heaven, today we have come as messengers of love, as a multitude of angels of heaven. We are the unity of truth. We are the love of the manifested Father, just as you and all are. Sons of and daughters of the Highest, in our hearts is an inextinguishable fire of passionate love, which comes from the source of creation and radiates brilliantly throughout the universe. We are the fire of God, the everlasting agape. We are the flame of living love, a flame that embraces with warmth and tenderness everything that exists in God. Close your eyes for a moment. Shut out the world. Remove worry from your mind, for none of it is real. Appease your emotions. Temper your soul. Immerse yourself in the depths of the infinite ocean of your being and be silent in our presence. Feel the warmth of our love. Expand your mind and heart. Allow the tenderness that springs from our being to wrap you entirely. Join our love, and together we will spread God's love. Feel the remembrance of union as it dawns upon your memory. Feel the tenderness of love. Stay here in the presence of love and listen as we call you to peace. Listen to the voice of love. Section 2. The End of Time. Beloveds of heaven, you live in the last times. This should not be cause for concern. It simply is what it is. Time will end sooner or later. An end always comes. God himself has contemplated the end of time and ordered all things for a higher good. Therefore, to worry about the end of time is nonsensical for you who know that God loves with an active love. The phrase final times must be resignified because it has been loaded with fear and foolishness. The end of time really refers to the era of the fullness of time, in which all that is true begins to be seen and recognized. Sisters and brothers in love, both individually and collectively, you are already beginning to perceive the light of Christ. This will not stop, but rather more and more will be seen. Less and less of truth will be denied. The light will illuminate everything. Nothing will be out of the reach of truth. Everything will be known. Everything that is true will be seen with perfect clarity. Only holiness will shine. The rest will pass, never to return. Illusions will give way to truth. Sisters and brothers, the time of fullness has begun. This new era of the fullness of time is signaled by the breaking down of structures. Both the individual mind and the collective mind, which are one, go through a transition from old structures to a new concept of the universe. This new worldview or consciousness is nothing other than the crumbling of the old and the emergence of the new. This process will trigger a sense of disorientation and fear among those who do not understand and cannot accept the signs of the times. Dismemberment of old structures prevents the mind from taking refuge in old beliefs, as all is subjected to the loving scrutiny of the tribunal of truth. Everything increasingly comes to light as the mind loosens its adherence to beliefs. The mind is uniting with truth. Mind and heart come together in love. The boundaries assigned to labels blur. You can observe this already in existing structures. Families are no longer defined as before. Genres are no longer such and such. That was thought to be good ceases to be good, and likewise the bad. Some will panic in the midst of this process of destructuring and disorientation. So much fear comes to light. Where old structures once gave security, they no longer are a safe haven. Neither do you want them, for the mind seeks integrity, a refuge of peace. The same goes for the heart. A refuge must always be in reality. Thus, the united mind and heart seeks to understand reality, to know it, to be safe and at peace. In other words, the only real security comes from certainty. Where there is certainty, there is peace. Thus, many who do not yet understand true authority will suffer from fear. They cling to the past, to an old world. Section 3. Certainty. Today we have come to shed light on the matter of authority. By means of this clarification we will leave behind the fear that comes from the chaos that many of you feel. Brothers and sisters, there is no chaos in God and none in your being. Therefore, it is to your being that we appeal. You know that many of your brothers and sisters feel a deep fear when confronted with chaos, without secure authority figures. If systems of government no longer give safe answers, nor the religious or social institutions such as the family, nor the group, nor the old spiritual gurus, then where do you look for security? In the old? Some will answer yes, given their resistance to change. Those who refuse to abandon the old and wish to return to old rigid ways, to a reality of black and white, take refuge in what they know. This is why your era is so consumed by judicialization, justice systems, and frequently the mass media become substitutes for authority. Where law abounds, sin abounds. Many resort to these structures to ask for help, to define what is good and what is not, and to put order to the chaos that the crumbling of the old seems to create. Observe, soul in God, how the scream for authority resounds throughout the world. Knowing how to understand this scream will give you peace, since you are also part of it in another way, in one way or another. You are not where you are by chance. Nothing is an accident. You are in this time because you chose to be in it, in perfect harmony with the will of God. This is because what you are has the power and potential to contribute to the plan of atonement in a unique and particular way. The contribution that only your being can offer is the one that you have come to accomplish. And you will. All will. Everything will. Because every aspect of creation is part of God's plan. You contribute to the collapse of the old and the creation of the new. You are an inseparable part of the process. Everyone contributes in his or her own way. Everyone is bringing the truth to light. Within the universal plan of the ascension of consciousness, you are a link of light in an extensive luminescent chain, which extends from the origin of separation to the fullness of time, and from there to the fullness of love. You are part of what breaks down the old and creates the new. You have created this chaos so that the new can be born. The cycles of creation, destruction and recreation exist, and you are part of that eternal creative process. Some have called this the game of life or the dice of God. But my beloved, can God really play dice or a game of chance? Obviously not. There's no such thing as God's dice. There's only perfect harmony in everything. Everything is perfect as it is, including you and the whole world. What seems to be a game of chance is not God's creation, but the erroneous interpretation that the egoic mind made of life. Faced with a world perceived as fraudulent, because the symbols of external authority seem to have failed and cannot give security, nor give definitions that serve, nor give certainty to the mind and heart. The reaction is panic and fear. This projection is what makes people sue each other as never before in judicial systems. And this is why public authorities are overwhelmed and fail to provide adequate answers. The same dynamic overwhelms the health system. These systems, like all systems based on illusion, cannot give secure answers or certainty. They are simply systems that will be completely replaced, as everything will be. Remember that we have already said that what was once good for everyone is now bad for some and not for others. What was white is now grey. The tree of the science of good and evil has withered and begun to fade. It is hardly surprising that many will cling to imagined financial security or to the body, What is this all about? The time has come to return to true authority, an authority that does not change, that is not weak, that always provides certainty, that is not brittle, that does not need repeated demonstrations of its apparent power. Section 4. The authority of love. There's only one true authority, and that is God. Every time humankind tried to remove God and power from being the authority over all things, it has fallen into tyrannies or nonsense. Why? For the simple reason that all true authority comes from truth. Only in the truth can there be perfect certainty. If you appeal to systems whose foundations are illusion, you will sooner or later be disillusioned. You will feel disappointed by life, by the thought systems of the world, and by everything learned from worldly wisdom. This, in turn, will create a state of anguish and bitterness. The return to the authority of love will make all this anguish change. The change that the world seeks has already begun. It is being propelled by Christ, who is love. Although you cannot fully understand it yet, you actively contribute to this process of the emergence of the new world. You do it out of love and according to the design of the eternal. You do it as an integral part of the expiatory covenant agreed upon with God before time. At the foot of the tree of the science of good and evil, at exactly the moment that its fruit was eaten, this process of emergence of a new heaven and earth, of which you are a part, began to roll with your full consent. Rejoice in knowing that you are the saviors of the world. You are the chosen ones, all so that the light of Christ shines in every place. You are the channels of the light of heaven. You are Christ. Your strength is indescribably superior than you usually recognize. Notice, children of the Most High, how far you have come in the atonement. Notice how high you have risen in the ascension of your human nature. Fear nothing. The time in which you live is a time of blessings, a time of return to the true authority of truth and love. Let yourself be carried away by love, and you will feel safe. Let yourself be loved, and you will find the certainty of love in your life. Live in the only possible certainty, the certainty of being who you really are. Certainty comes from knowing oneself in the light of the holiness that God is. You have clung to old systems that have never worked and will never work. Hold on to love. Hold on to Christ. This will work. The conscience of Christ is what from now on must be your authority, your only guide and support. Beloved of God, make the love that you truly are the only source of your knowledge and action, so that you can live in the perfect certainty of the truth that says, only love exists, because only love is real. Blessed are the children of light.